All right, let's get down. Let's get my crystal. I don't really use that often. This one broke. Don't ask me what it's called, but it broke like perfectly. And now like one's in each hand. I'm like, I do like crystals a lot, but I just don't really have that many. The ones I do have, I use them a lot. Okay, let me have everything screenshotted. Okay, how can I do this without looking down? Let's take the part out. Oh no, 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 no. Okay, this is what I do. Feels so good. I love how I said this is what I do, but I've never done what I'm doing right now. I mean, I've done the eye one a lot, but okay. All right. A very rare daytime reading. Anyway, okay. No, my Leo rising hair. Okay. Let go ahead. Should I go in meditation mode? Start. Yeah, I'll go meditation mode. Okay. So we have an advanced astro lover who, in my view, understands her chart, has studied it her whole life, but wants my perspective, just as I want other people's perspective of my chart. You cannot see yourself, and sometimes it takes a stranger who, yes, I have read some of your messages, but I also like some of them. I was like, okay, don't read this fully, because it's gonna give me too many clues. Um, but I always make sure not to look at any photos. So yeah, okay, let me find that one page, that one thing you were. Down the dumps. Okay. Yeah, like all of us, right? The twin, yeah. Okay. And okay. Okay. Well, at least I can know you're a cat lover. That's not cheating. So, Okay. Okay. So, ooh, okay. Okay. We're in the same boat. So you, my friend, as you know, have Neptune on your moon. Now, this is a natal reading, but when you have a transit that massive, it it can dominate everything. I've been digging so deep into Neptune lately. And, obviously I have like every fucking Neptune transit known to man and aliens and everything. But the big thing is just not believing yourself. You know, it's really ultimately about, the whole point of Neptune, right? It's meant to confuse you. It's meant to fuck with your ego. It's meant to um kind of isolate you and put you in the dumps and make you doubt your direction and have very weird dreams where you start your day and you're just like, what the fuck, right? Um, so I want to just say that first, right? Now, because you're a Pisces moon, though, and also it's on your IC with Saturn, I imagine that the effect in with Chiron, that yeah, Chiron, yeah, and Black Lilith, I imagine the effect this is having is so unique. Um, you're most likely facing a lot, having a lot come up, and there's a lot of good and there's a lot of bad. Um, I think that if you're someone who's run away from, what Saturn on your IC represents, right? In your upbringing, if you're someone who, and sometimes it's very easy for us to do this unconsciously. One thing I've noticed about people who have, I thought it was just Neptune, but I've noticed it's also Pluto. Like I have that, right? Uranus. I believe that outer planets, um, Saturn I haven't really verified, and Chiron I haven't really verified, but I can imagine, especially because it's in Pisces, right? That you have a very dim memory of childhood where there's, the potential for over idealism or under idealism or just not remembering it, or not wanting to remember it. But I feel like probably during this time, it might be through your dreams, it might be very, very unconscious. A lot is coming up, a lot is boiling up to the surface. You're born in 66. Oh, that's when my dad was born. So yeah, you also have the same Saturn and Pisces as him. Interesting. Wow, you're born only 1 month after him. A little more, a month and a half. Well, no, a month and a week. So, yeah, I find that fascinating. Just especially in your fourth house, right? So much unearthing, and I keep thinking of ancestors, and I keep thinking of family. Just, so many of my clients are the ones who are meant to be the breakers of this generational curse in a family, right? Doesn't mean that necessarily they have bad families, bad people, right? You can be in a family with very, very good people, but if they aren't actively trying to grow on a spiritual level, and you are, and the types of conversations that you're willing to have, they completely shut down and aren't willing to, in the places that you're going and willing to go, they're not willing to go, then you become the chosen one. So I don't want to like, I don't did hold on 1 second. I think you said something in the messages about wanting to do like a transit reading, but did you already book it? I just need to check. Sorry. But I highly recommend that. Gotcha. Okay, so yeah, you got the reading and follow up. So I'm just gonna write it right now. Um, I will offer you the follow up for 270. So reduction there. So that's, if you want it, hold on, let me just write that down so I can have it in writing. So yeah, basically the way I do my readings, this is all natal, and after that we have a follow-up. Most people add the current astrology, current/year ahead, to that session. It becomes a 3-hour session. So let me know about that. Am I short of breath? Okay. So let me get back. Yeah, that just was just like, I never like, I swear I never look at transits. Like I never start a reading and look at something that is more in the current astrology realm. But that was just fascinating. Wow. And then of course, yeah, your second Saturn return coming, as you said. So holy shit. God, I feel such a intuitively, my download is, it's like this, it's hard to pin down like in words, but it's extremely unique. Like it's something I haven't seen before. Um, yeah, it's something I haven't seen before, and I'm very curious, very curious. But let me get back into. I was enjoying. I feel weird when I'm just like close my eyes. Let me get back into my mode for a little bit. I'm a random feller. Yeah. Okay. So, okay. So you have close to Antares rising. About what, like a degree and a half away, and you have obviously the moon in Pisces at 23. We have our moons squaring each other. Mine's 21, Sag 23. Your moon's with Chiron and Black Moon Lilith and Saturn. So a very afflicted moon. It's also, wow. Okay, so your moon is literally aspected by nearly everything. It's aspected by every single outer planet. It's with Chiron. It's opposite Pluto. It is trine Neptune, opposite Uranus, conjunct Saturn, and trine Jupiter. Oh my God. I've never, ever seen, holy shit. I've never seen a moon that aspected. That's crazy. And then your sun is completely unaspected. Let me just verify that. 5. Well, I mean, sextiles, it depends on the orbs you use. I would probably say, Sun sextile Jupiter, but regardless, right? Um, series. I mean, we're not gonna really go into that. It's trying the ascendant, but that's not a planet. It's not quincunxing any of this. These are all empty. And well, okay, so yeah, it sextiles the ascendant, and Jupiter. So it actually, even though, for a mini grand trine, any aspect patterns, you don't. It needs to be planetary points, right? So the ascendant, you can't look up in the sky and say, "Oh, that's the ascendant." So there's no angular geometry, right? Between, yes, the sun can have that sextile on the ascendant, but it's not forming, what would be what's called a mini grand trine, right? Which is where, yeah, there's a sextile, but still, we can look at it in a way, and we can say, okay, that the sun is definitely not badly, it's definitely not badly aspected, and it is, it's definitely, yeah, I mean, it's nice. It's close. It's pretty close to the midheaven. You have Venus right on the midheaven. Interesting. God, this is, yeah, and then you have Uranus. Ooh, God, this is such an interesting chart. I can already feel it. Nodes in North Node Taurus. Okay. Oh, South. Okay. Of course. South Node with Neptune. In the 12th in Scorpio. So yeah, I mean the sun. So I don't do the whole, like, sun is the dad, moon is the mom. That's just from my personal experience that it just has not worked out. Um, so what I will say is that I would not be surprised if there was one parent that the relationship was quite good, maybe not so full of energy, um, but not bad, right? While the other was just insane. Just so much going on. Um, so much to break down with that moon. Crazy, crazy. Um, so yeah, so sun's chilling in Libra in the 11th. A nice sextile. I'll call it sextile in my book with Jupiter. So yeah, I mean, you on one side, and then with your rising, right? Because we always want to think about, just from a very basic perspective, what is, I always say it's a shell, right? I'll go back on camera. I go back and forth. Oh my God. Somehow I hit recording stop. God damn it. Whatever. I'll just connect the two videos in my editing software. Okay, anyways. But yeah, so what I was gonna say is that there's the egg. I always think of it the egg. Like, so many astrologers, they go down so many rabbit holes, right? And it makes it very, very complicated. Astrology is endless, right? It is absolutely endless. And for me, as a Sag moon, as a Jupiterian, right? I'm always like, I'm always trying to see the big picture, right? So the egg metaphor, the shell is your ascendant, right? It's what people see. It is your mask. You know what the ascendant is, right? Um, the sun is the white of the egg, It's the core essence of who you are. It's it's more seen um, than the yoke, which is the moon, right? Which is the feminine archetype, and the sun is the masculine archetype. So how do these three, obviously the sun and the moon are the most important, but how do these three get along, right? I don't like to talk about my chart, but like I'm a good example. Um, Leo, rising, trine, Sag, moon, and then Pisces is just on its own. So for you, it's Libra teaming up with Sag, right? Um, they have similar goals. Um, I mean, obviously they're different signs. That they're both masculine. One's fire, one's air, and this is like the classic example of someone who comes off a certain way, right? Um, Especially with Antares, which we'll get more into. I mean, it's not like smack on there, but you'll still have that influence, which is badass as fuck. Um, I almost feel like it's almost like, I mean, it's the heart of the scorpion, right? In sidereal, so it's like um it's kind of like the militant, right? It's kind of like the but yeah, with any royal stars, you just always have like, I have Regulus rising, and like the reason I have the tattoo is because with any of the four royal stars rising or in the midheaven, you have to always remember, do not get revenge. Whatever that means to you, do not get revenge. Like there will be things that happen to you where you will probably want that, or that might, sound appealing. Do not go for it. If you have, it's okay, right? It is what it is. But yeah, so um, I would say that Sagittarius and Libra are on a team, and I think that they're both social. I think that Libra as a sun sign, obviously, you always have to watch out for the very basic, um, you know, boundaries and kind of giving too much of yourself. And like, actually, interestingly, whenever I see Libra and Pisces in a chart, I always say boundaries, like in caps locks, right? Because it's like Pisces is energetic boundaries. So a lot of Pisces, especially earlier in life, they struggle with energetic boundaries. They take in so much, especially in the fourth house with all that family stuff. Like you are literally like, you are the person that has taken in so much and can, you are like the one that like what's the word in English? That just gets hit by the energy, right? I can feel it. Um, if I'm wrong, I'd be very surprised, right? Like it's almost like like almost like the martyr, like is that the word? Like just the person that gets the grunt, that gets the black sheep. Yeah. Anyways, um, so Libra, it's physical boundaries, and early in life they struggle with that. And Pisces, it's the energetic one, right? So a big part of life lesson of someone with a chart like yours is to understand when to say no, understand who to surround yourself with, um, what kind of situations, life situations put yourself in, um, where to live, all that stuff, right? Now, I would say Libra and Sag together is a very, very great conversationalist. I feel like they can like really be like the charmer, like they can be the person that um that people look at and it's very easy to get on with them, right? Now, it's so crazy how many of my clients have had something like this, right? Um, when people get to know you better, that's when your people do not see your moon sign until they know you on a deep level, right? So let's say they're dating you, let's say they're your best friend, let's say they're your family, whatever. Um, and even sometimes people who are very close to us, you know, won't understand our moon sign, right? Because it's so hidden and we decide what we want to show of it. So I would I say this all the time. The mask Libra, you know, the charmer, the social, the like or Sag, excuse me, like the like the life of the party. I mean, yes, it's Antares, so it is more of like I think yeah, Antares is like the king queen of the underworld. It's very militant. It's very very intelligent, not to be fucked with, but still, it's Sag, right? And then there's the Libra, right? Venus ruled. So it goes Jupiter, Venus, and then Neptune. So there's definitely been relationships in your life where people were very shocked once they got to know you about your depth, right? About like just how sensitive you are. And I imagine in your life, it took you a long time to, maybe not a long time, right? I don't want to put that, I don't want to like put that out there, but it wasn't necessarily an easy um it wasn't necessarily easy for you to understand that about yourself, especially before you got into astrology, right? Like just kind of living life and people kind of expecting and seeing these more like surface level pair of the moon sides of you, and then you're just like so sensitive, because a Pisces moon is affected by everything, right? They are the sponges. They are this, right? I don't have to like explain it that well. Um, a little dehydrated. Hold up, it's a little bit chopped. But so there's this like whole complexity, right? There's this whole complexity that comes through, and um, it surprises people. It catches people off guard, and it's only the real ones that that can handle it. Some people just wanted like the fun, mellow, you know, um, optimistic, adventurous. Yeah, all yeah, just that Libra, Sag energy, right? So, I would say that the Pisces moon is, and the fact that's on your IC. So let me like really break this down because this is crazy. And then like it's I just want to go through. Okay, so Mercury's not doing much. Venus opposite Saturn, that's tough. With Uranus, with Pluto, damn. Opposite Chiron, damn. Mars square. Okay, oof. Okay, damn. So you have a very complicated chart. Um, and then you have Mars square nodes. Okay, so let me just. Okay, interesting. So I think that you are someone who has like you have like this unbelievable inheritance psychic inheritance. I think that you have this potential to really connect with your ancestors, to connect with spirit in general, and you see things that other people don't see, and it's been that way since you were very young, right? On top of that, to complicate things more, and this is a big sign of a very evolved soul, right? When you read books about life after death and get into like that kind of thing, I'm sure you have, maybe you haven't, I don't know. They talk about how there's advanced souls and intermediary, whatever, right? I can kind of tell through a chart. Um, so the fact that the nodes and Neptune are trining the moon gives you this amazing ability to channel, especially from the 12th house, right? Um, you have this amazing ability to channel energy, right? And to understand what I call uncommon common sense, right? And it must have been very, very, and let me see, you have a karmic debt. You probably don't have a karmic debt number. Actually, every single person I've looked up, which is like just been like this very intuitive like thing, has had a karmic debt number so far. It's been like what, 5 people? 28 September 66. Watch, you're gonna have the same one as me. Which one do I have again? 13, 4. No, no karmic debt. No karmic debt. Hmm. Oh, but okay, so there's this guy called Gary 33 or whatever. I don't know. He seems like kind of like a narcissistic like dude who thinks he's like the best ever God's gift to earth with numerology and Chinese astrology, but he's just like, I don't know. He knows some stuff, but he seems like very let me get my windows up. He says, so you're born on the 28th, and he says that a lot, like a huge, a very like a very like odd number of the world's richest, most wealthy people are born on the 28th. So take that for what you will. Um, but you're a 5. Okay. So I'm not a numerologist. Um, but yeah, to me, 5 is all about to me, it just gives like this like Sagittarian kind of like energy. I don't know. It makes me think of like, yeah, very free spirited, just like lots of changes throughout life, not really meant to kind of be doing one thing, like lots of meant to explore, right? Very adaptable. And um yeah, I think lots of travel. I think, the weakness with the 5 is that it can be like overly indulgent. Um, like kind of like overly Jupiterian, one could say. But yeah, just it can really inspire a lot of people and be a great teacher. But I would say, yeah, like just like the impulsiveness and potential hedonism and self indulgence is big there. But you're here basically like, you're here to experience a lot, right? Um and you want, on a career level, you want freedom. You want to be doing something, um, you know, you don't want something that's just the same day after day, right? So, it is really about how you balance freedom and stability, right? Um, how do you deal with change? And I'm not a numerologist, but like what I've seen a lot is like I feel like a lot of people are life path number. It's like, I don't know, I feel like it's like not so in tune with like them. Like I'm a 4, like what the fuck, right? But then you have other core numbers, right? So I feel like it's a lot of it is how do they define life path number? Represents who you are at your core, this lifetime learning, the person you're spending this lifetime learning to become. Yeah, but then you have other core numbers that are like way more like yeah, like your destiny number and yeah, heart's desire, all these things. They're like more, add a lot more to it. But anyways, okay, little numerology, um, ex excapade, escapade. Um, so as a 5 and as you know, a moon in Pisces, right? With this Chiron smack on it, and Black and Lilith is close by too, in the IC, or on the IC. I can't imagine childhood having been easy in any sense. I think that as a Pisces moon, you probably had so much projected onto you. Um, and with Saturn on the IC, exact degree, right? Everyone I know with Saturn on the IC, they grew up in a household that was very restrictive of their true being, right? And because your South Node is in the 12th with Neptune in Scorpio, aka past life fucking mystic, right? But at the same time, it's square Mars. So like I'm just gonna fucking say it. And you're probably gonna hear this and be like, I've literally been told, maybe not. I don't know. I'm gonna say it. I never make these predictions ever. You were a fucking witch that got fucked up. I mean, it just makes perfect sense. Mars, planet of action and violence, square the South Node in the 12th house, aka what is hidden in the sign of the witch, right? Um, with Neptune. So you're very, very connected. You have past life energy where you're very connected to the collective unconscious and to spirituality in general. But because of, you know, some type of action, it, you know, it held you were pushed to hide, right? I'm gonna go back in my meditation journal. So that's very interesting. Um, I would say that hmm, a lot of people with that, they come in this life and they have a level of unresolved anger, right? Um, and it could even be having had like some type of physical or even sexual violence, um, placed on them. And, even if it's anger what it's tough, right? But like when you harbor this anger in your soul and you come in this lifetime with this anger, right? Let's say let's just like paint the picture of you being this very powerful witch, you know, spiritual lady who was hunted, right? And you have to hide in like the forest or something. And there's all these idiots trying to, you know, fuck you over. So it can create, yeah, it can make someone come in this life with like lots of, yeah, unresolved Martian energy, right? So I think that a lot of times, what the person wanted to do, like their will, sorry, I'm putting eye drops in my eyes are red for some reason. And no, I do not smoke any weed. My eyes just get red sometimes. Um, yeah, so it just overall it creates the importance of really really like dialing down and getting coming to terms with that like in the body, how is, because a lot of times that will be projected outwardly, right? um like I think of this with all I'm seeing here is like the soul had a very very um original intention that was distorted because of this dominance that was placed upon it, right? And there's this unmet need, or there was this unmet need for it's like you were just alive and wanting to do your own thing and super passionate about what you were doing and super talented, and then some fuck shit came in your way. Excuse my French. um so in this life, it's about releasing that suppressed anger through creative means, um, or even, physical means or whatever, and figuring out what that unmet need was that you weren't able to express, and express it. Because in this life, you have the freedom, right? Um, so, mm, so, hmm. So if you have this, right, I think that what can happen in relationships is that there can be this fear of entrapment, right? This unconscious fear of entrapment. And perhaps that was when you were younger, um, where, there is, you do want to have that, that experience of growing and, you know, having that freedom in a relationship with someone else. Um, but then there's some unconscious fear or anger that gets projected maybe towards the partner that prevents you from fully allowing that person in. So, that's fascinating stuff. Um, so North Node in Taurus, right? So the South Node in the 12th, I think, okay, well, you, and we'll get more into that in a little bit actually, but let's just say with Neptune, you were tapped in. But there's a lot of unfinished business, and there's a lot of, you had like you had and have all these unreal, unbelievable spiritual innate talents. And in this life, it's about you, North Node in Taurus, sixth house, finding the root chakra, aka the body, right? You're here to find the bodily, like present moment mindfulness, peace within yourself, um, groundedness, so that you can take that South Node energy, right, and create something tangible out of it. Now, if that's something you haven't done yet, that's fine, because it's not necessarily like we live in a world where it's like make this, make that, become this, become that. No, this is energetic, right? This could be you um learning about astrology. This could be you learning about something witchy, right? This could be you journaling, right? This could be you opening up in relationships, right? Like it's a lot, right? But the point of the point of the matter is this: North Node in Taurus people, South Node in Scorpio, they have had usually pretty rough past lives, and they're here to just relax on some level, on big parentheses, on some level, right? Um, because the moon has a lot going on. So yeah, I love North Node Taurus. I love North Node Taurus. And sixth house, yeah. So it's like, another potential is like you were overly idealistic, or there's a tendency to be overly idealistic, and have, create all these unreal creative dreams, but then not go towards a step-by-step basis to make them an actual reality. So we'll go back to that in a little bit. You're clearly here for the collective, um, with your 11th house sun, right? However, there's a lot that has to get um overcome before that can really shine. Before you can really shine in that area. And so this is where it gets interesting, right? You have a kite aspect, but it's with Juno. Um, although, because look, it's like Neptune trine Moon, Moon trine Juno, and Juno is not a planet, but it's like this is like to each astrologer their own. I'm still gonna look at it and see what it tells me, right? Because I want to see what that big, what that apex, what do you call it, opposition is, right? So obviously there's so much creative talent, and then it meets at, eh, it's either Uranus or Venus. Probably Venus. Well, actually, it's very interesting because you have Chiron, and Moon and Saturn. But yeah, I would say Venus, that you could say, you could say Venus and Uranus opposite um moon, but because Uranus is that outer planet, um it we can speak about that is really being um a major a major a major 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 aspect in your chart. um I rarely see these, and like I said, Juno, eh, you know you wish this Jupiter and Juno could switch off, but whatever. um but even if you use Jupiter, which is not in a water sign, it still is 7 degrees, which, is very big for a trine, but whatever. The point is this. Uranus opposite moon. So a kite, okay, first of all, like a kite aspect, right? Um, there's a lot of very, very smooth flowing aspects. Um, and while a grand trine, for example, right, which isn't really a full one, but whatever, um, can be a talent one has that one gets complacent about. When there's a kite, aka a planet here with this opposition, it adds like that boom, that that Um, so by understanding, so it's the kite's tail, it's like the planet at the kite's tail, um, it it really really gets things going, right? And this is where there are kind of latent talents and abilities that can make their presence felt, while with someone who just had a grand trine, they might, like, yeah, like I said, um overlook it. So mm, mm, mm. Hold on one second. So yeah, I would say with kite people, like, yeah, they have to watch out for perfectionism, and they're always yeah, like they're working on self-improvement. They're not just, yeah, they're not just like with these all like smooth flowing aspects, perfect, perfect, perfect. Yeah. So there is a lot of pressure that it brings. And with Moon Chiron opposite Uranus, I would say, and then with like the very creative ones on the other side, right? Like it's like all these water, all these water signs, right? With or not water, excuse me, water plus Virgo. Um, and especially Virgo being a very perfectionist sign. Um, I would say that moon opposite Chiron, or excuse me, moon opposite Uranus, it it can be an aspect that can really move one in a sense where it's difficult to be grounded, right? It's difficult to remain in one place, and it's highly highly rebellious. It makes one really really want to stand up, which can lead to crises, right? So but you definitely stand out, and there's a lot of charisma with these, right? Um, so, you know, like I was saying before, you know, the gift of Neptune to your moon that gives you that innate intuition and compassion and all that. With Juno, I mean, I don't really know. Like, um, you know, I mean, it's not that Moon's trying Juno. Like, at least it's not like, you know, Black and Lilith are just the vertex, right? Like, at least it's an asteroid. But like, um, you know, it it definitely it's like I would say it's like your creative it's like your creative God, this is a hard chart. Fuck. It's like your creative mystical side is always challenged by this part of you that, and this might come from childhood, which we haven't even dove into, right? Um, and like the early environment that always wants to prove that they are not necessarily with where they came from, right? That they are different, that they stand out, that they are, you know, their own person. And so hold on. I'm sorry. I'm looking for something. I'm looking for something. I'm looking for something. Uh, yeah. So yeah, Uranus is really, yeah, it creates that tension, and it just keeps you on your feet. It keeps you on your feet, and it keeps you always um you know, wanting to take the road less traveled, right? Um, I would say I would say that I would say that, you know, Uranus and Moon, right? Um, is definitely creating like a very like hectic emotional kind of existence, right? Especially early on. Usually the mother, the mother wasn't experienced as safe and consistent, very, very changeable, kind of like what's it called in psychology? Anxious attachment style, or even like yeah. And basically because the emotions given to that person were so changeable, that person learned to not trust them, right? Um, and it makes that person as an adult seesaw between emotion, Pisces moon, super, super, super obviously emotional and soft and inside, and intellect, right? Which is that Virgo. Um, so it's really about trust, right? Um, and finding that actual balance between those two. Um, I would say that Uranus, did I say universe? Uranus opposite Moon, with a Pisces Moon with Chiron, it just would, cause a lot of mood swings. It would definitely make the person want to move the hell out of home very, very early. Um, but at the same time, it creates someone that's exciting, right? Um, And it creates also this very genius person, this person that wants to be, maybe your parents were, because okay, now I see it, right? You have Saturn on your IC, so it's very, very likely that your parents were very traditional, right? And you were just like, fuck that. I am not like that at all. So you were just trying to rebel and be as far away from that as possible. But you see how by you having those parents, you it propels you in, like, think about how you would have been if your parents were, let's say, I'm not shitting on your parents, but or making any claims about your parents, right? Just upbringing, what I see in the chart. um but let's say you just like resonated on, pretty well with your parents, right? So yeah, it just is like, sometimes with the Uranus moon people, they need to learn, like they always want that, like, grass is green on the other side, and it's like they can get bored so easily. um and it's just about, also, like, they'll there's a thing that they're supposed to do and the thing that they're not supposed to do, and sometimes they'll always choose the thing that they're not supposed to do, even if that's not the thing that they actually want, and the thing that's actually like good for them, that, like, you know what I mean? Like, they just want to, yeah. So it really is about compromise, right? Compromise between the soft, and we're not even, we're adding little pieces slowly. This is one of the most complicated charts I've seen in a while, right? I've been getting really hard ones the last few days. It's crazy. Um, but yeah, so it's like really just about, yeah, slowly, like, okay, compromise between my need for excitement and my need for stability, right? Um, you can't be at the same time like this just off the ropes, like, just, out of this reality person, but then also, as a Pisces moon, that you're that very, it's a very, like, soft, warm placement, right? That wants love and that feels empathy, that feels the pain of other people. Now, getting to that, right? Um, getting to that. Now, there's so many aspects. So another way to see the kite, if you want to look at the kite, and is the moon and Venus, right? And that's like, the conflict between what you need and what other people need. Not just people in relationships, but just in general, right? Um, so it's pushing you more, and it's kind of like, you see how, like, I'm hinting at this life purpose about balance, which is Taurus North Node is about balance. So you have a lot in your chart that's making it very difficult to have that. But, like, when you're put in difficult circumstances, you know, you have the opportunity to truly, 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 um, what's the word in English? Rise above them, right? Um, so yeah, but I would say, like, in relationships, it's just like understanding, like, the dynamics of, like, give and take, and just really, really, because, like, Venus is ultimately self-love, right? And I would say there's just that tension between what you value in someone else, but then, like, what makes you feel comfortable. Um, and yeah, so it's another one that needs balance, or that is very important. There, where do I want to go next? Boylston Marte. I finally got my freaking Oh my God. I don't know if you saw my story of like my electricity that got all messed up last week, but I finally got it fixed. Finally. Um, so yeah, I think like yeah, like with Moon Venus, it's just being able to meet your own emotional needs at the end of the day. Um and I think sometimes people with this can come on a little strong in relationships, and it's yeah, it's just yeah, it really is like balancing what I need to be happy and what my love language is and what I value in other. That's it, right? So once that's figured out, things, you know, make sense. But if it's not, you can be giving, too much to one of them, right? And as Pisces moon lacks boundaries, it could be giving too much to the partner. But anyways, that's all about self-esteem, and that is what I'm, getting to next. Sun or moon, excuse me, conjunct Chiron. Like I said, you have Saturn on your IC, which would indicate very strict upbringing. You weren't really able to be yourself. And you probably had lots of very strong, tough responsibilities early on. Life was not easy for you, right? So, you know, a lot of people with that grew up in poverty, not all of them. Um, there just wasn't that sense of stability, right? Very insecure. So, and a lot of people with this, as a Pisces moon means, like I said, like you're a sponge for all the energy. And when you're young, you don't know that, it makes it really hard to cope with the changes. Maybe you had siblings that coped easier, right? But yeah, it's really, really difficult. Um, but the good thing about Saturn, or on the IC is that later in life, and now you're getting close to your second Saturn return. You People with Saturn on the IC, they want, they usually come from, like I said, from families where there's lots, where things were very held back. They just didn't, yeah, like I just said, all that stuff. They want their families, if they have families, to be the opposite, right? And they want very solid foundations in their life. They want a solid home base. They want a marriage. They want kids. Not always, but like they tend to want to have the opposite. They want to have like exactly what they didn't have, right? So lots of lessons learned in childhood. Now, the fact that it's that the moon is there is very interesting, because moon on the IC, that means like so what's so fascinating. I don't know how long this reading is going to be. I'm already okay. I'm trying to keep them under 2 hours, but it's just like so hard. Okay, so it's like on one hand, it's like you like with the Uranus moon, that makes someone want to get the fuck, excuse my language, like for emphasis, that makes them want to get out of where they're from, right? Like moon square, like moon, hard aspect to Uranus, like I've talked to some people who are like, yeah, I moved out at 16, like never talked to my parents again, whatever. But the fact of the matter is that your moon is right on the IC, which will make you very, very in a water sign, obviously a water house, fourth house, which will make you very, very connected to your childhood, right? And to your family. So that's what's really tricky. It's that there's one part that wants to leave, right? And then, like I said, your sun, your the core essence of who you are, your identity, your purpose, right? Of course, your purpose is also your north node and a lot, of other things in the chart. But your 11th house sun is here for the collective. They're here, and usually, and I think you'll like to hear this. Um, my experience with 11th house suns is like, well, first of all, we're moving into this age of Aquarius, 11th house Aquarius. I believe, like, when I see like 11th house people, I'm like, your time is coming. You might not know it, but like 11th house is like the house where you have built up your entire life um for that moment. It's like everything has built to that, right? And it also has to do, Libra rules it, so Venus rules it. So, it's with friends, it's with like-minded people, um, people who think like you, and obviously Venus is on your midheaven, so it could have a huge, you could definitely be an artist. You could be someone who expresses beauty in their career in some type of way, but who does that in a way that helps humanity and that works with other people, right? And of course, Uranus there is very interesting too. But well, yeah, because that Uranus midheaven, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if you were an artist, um, or at least they just had like an amazing artistic talent. But perhaps Saturn on your moon held it back. So these are the ones we have to get into, right? So Uranus, like I just said, get me the fuck away. And then also Pluto opposite moon. We didn't even go into that. We'll get into that in a sec. One at a time. Shit. Um, but you know, with with the moon in the fourth, right? Some people are always undergoing change where they live, right? They need to like move home, move home, move home. Like they can't be in this place, that place, whatever, right? Um, but as they grow, and like they deal with change well, and also, like, yeah, one thing also about like a fourth house moon in Pisces, living by water is super, super, super healing, and just water in general, taking baths, all that stuff, swimming. Um, but you know, I would say like there is still that deep connection to your childhood. And a lot of people, like with Uranus, they run away from it. But then because Saturn is on your IC exactly opposing your midheaven, it's essentially saying that, and yes, Venus is also opposite Saturn. Fuck, you have so much going on. Um, Basically, when I see Saturn, Pluto, whatever, it's like, and I have I see Pluto, so I learned this. I've learned this. It's like when you don't do the work, so it might not be, and I don't know if your parents are alive or not. I don't know. I don't know if you talk to them. I don't know if you're like, I don't know anything. Maybe you've healed those relationships. I don't know. But the thing is, you have to heal them on an energetic level. That doesn't mean you have to talk to them, right? You can literally like write them like a letter that you burn, and it's from your heart. You feel the emotions because no parent wants I've talked to many clients with narcissistic parents. No parent wants to be a narcissistic parent, right? Um, no parent wants to be a narcissistic parent, right? Um, yeah. So there's a level of suffering in that, right? And I think that on some level, being able to find empathy for, a parent that you might not even talk to anymore, and in form of a letter can be one of the most powerful things ever. And you burn that letter. It's a gestalt. Um, it's something that's taught in psychology and in gestalt, right? And it's very, 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 very freeing. So that's one thing. Now, back to what I was saying, right? So you have this attachment where like there's still this feeling of duty to your family, right? But then you're like, Uranus, I want to get the fuck out of here, right? But then like because Saturn opposes the midheaven, it's like you kind of have to handle that stuff, or it's gonna hold you back from your maximum capacity in your career, right? So enter Moon conjunct Chiron, conjunct Black Lilith, and Pisces, conjunct the IC, conjunct Saturn, opposite Pluto, opposite Uranus. That is absolutely wild. And it's in the fourth and 10th, so it's completely like your dharma and the success that you're going to be able to make is based on all of this work that you're doing, right? So, with Moon and Chiron, that's someone who, on some level has a lot of emotional wounding, right? But at the same time, they are a natural healer, right? Because when you have Moon conjunct Chiron, you usually felt misunderstood, by your, especially, in Pisces, like you felt misunderstood by, when you're growing up, and the root chakra, like with all the other things we talked about, was not stable. You didn't feel like you were secure, which your North Node in Taurus, right? Which is, what you're trying to get to. That is the sign of security. You see how this all is like you have this like mission, not mission possible, mission very, very hard, but it's literally showing, astrology is showing that your North Node in Taurus is in the sixth house, there for the taking, and you just have to get past these different little side missions, right? So Moon and Chiron people, they are natural healers, right? They usually were rejected. Usually it's by the mother, but like I don't really go with the mother father thing because yeah. And yeah, like it teaches one to really nurture themselves, right? Like they have to be the one to nurture themselves. And when it comes to Pisces, it's about gaining your own individuality, right? And self-esteem, and seeing yourself as like a normal person, right? That's the difficulty with it there. Um, you can feel other people's pain so deeply, um, and like this is why I think like you're meant to be a healer. And like I was saying with the 11th house, a lot of times people 11th house placements, they step, 11th house placements, they step in to that core mission of their life later in their life. It's a whole bunch of things that have to kind of line up, right? But I definitely think that you have this like unbelievable, especially like yeah, South, like I mean, this is like the chart of I've ever seen of like a for sure witch that was fucked with, right? You have South Node, 12th house, Scorpio, conjunct Neptune, square Saturn, or square Mars, excuse me. Um, like come on, right? Like and then it trines your all this really, really difficult like ancestral Pisces moon, conjunct Chiron exact degree energy, right? Um, like I just can't say it enough. Like this is literally which, like like I've seen this before, but I've never been like so like almost positive, right? Like think about it. South Node with Neptune, right? 12th house, like square Mars, like South Node, the sorcerer, or Scorpio, the sorcerer. South Node, the been there, done that. Neptune, the spiritualist, right? Square Mars, you were fucked with, right? You were attacked. There's this anger that was thrown at you, and now you're trying to find peace in this life and understand that it's okay for you to express your and then all of this like this Neptune energy trines your moon in Pisces. So it's like your life goal is to understand and to feel safe in your own body and in your own soul to express the high energy that you on a soul level are most likely very afraid of expressing because of what happened in past lives, right? So, yeah, it's really, really like just the deep, 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 deep dive. Um, you know, Moon conjunct Saturn does not make it easier. That's one of the toughest ones. Venus opposite Saturn, like shit. Like you have so much a Moon opposite Pluto. Um, it goes on and on. But the point is this is that you've made it this far and you're a boss. You are a boss. You are someone who is just done it, right? But like with Saturn and the moon, what's really difficult, especially for the first 30 years, is that like the moon the moon in Pisces, right? So that's what's so difficult about Saturn conjunct the moon is that the moon in Pisces, right? Is that the moon in Pisces wants to be free. It's a mutable moon sign. It wants to just flow. And when you have Saturn in the IC, like I said, your family was very, very stringent and very, very harsh. They didn't let you be in your Pisces vibe. You're for sure the black sheep, right? And so you have to like kind of like you were constantly being gaslit and you weren't able to be yourself. And then Saturn and the moon, when you combine those, that creates melancholy, right? So it can really make someone lack a lot of self-confidence, right? And feel a lot of emotional pain. And when it comes to opening up and feeling like worthy of love, right? Because it starts from the parent figure, right? From the family and from the lack of warmth that resulted from that. And then it goes into, relationships when you're older. And so like working on your self-esteem and like believing that you deserve all these things, like that is, that's another part of the life work, right? Um, but yeah, like first 30 years were not easy. Like, God, this is like one of the hardest charts I've ever seen. And then you have Black Moon Lilith there too. Like that just kind of adds like that potential for you know, just taking the escapist route, which could be like the drugs, because you have Mars, you know, like with Black Moon Lilith added to it, right? That could, potentially add, and also Mars square Neptune, right? Those are, two potentials of someone who maybe it was too much, and maybe they took the drug route, maybe they took, the route that was, whatever escapist route, there's a lot of different ways to be an escapist, right? But the core kind of the core aspect of it is that you're not dealing with reality, right? You're creating these emotional walls, right? um and you're not allowing yourself to trust, right? Because you in your mind trust and all that equals pain because you've had so many bad experiences in that sense. So it's that fear of vulnerability, right? And then with Mars and Neptune, that is like very, very common. Although, like with a lot of my clients, it's like usually they're the ones who've had parents who are like, substance abusers and they never did it. But like I've also seen a lot of people who abuse substance with Neptune, substances and Mars, right? Square. So, yeah, it's just really about, um, like the more you get into your spiritual journey, the more you trust your gut, the better, right? That's ultimately it. Um, and um, I would say like with Black Moon Lilith in the fourth, and it would be in the third. So this is very, very, very interesting. Um, hmm, yeah, because like I would say that there's probably something, if you have siblings, like there could be some potential darkness there as well. Like maybe there was like some jealousy, or maybe there was like some kind of like dark kind of karmic energy um in that realm, right? But yeah, overall it's like how can you go back by still keeping boundaries? Remember, Libra, Pisces, the two worst signs for boundaries. How can you still go back, mend all those things so that you can get to your highest potential, right? Um, let's take a little bit of a break from this, like, we'll go back around, but let's take a little bit of break from like this, like really harsh stuff. Um, let's talk about, you know, the Dharma, right? Like Uranus, Venus, on the midheaven in Virgo, right? I mean, that is brilliant. That's someone who is here to make a very um, unique contribution to society. They want to add beauty to the world. They want to add love to the world. They are seen by others as unconventional yet loving. Um, and just very, very warm. And that's what they want to add. And you topple that with, your Mars in Leo, right? In the ninth house. Um, yes, it is square Chiron, so there is that potential for escapism. However, it also can make one, yeah, there is that need to avoid drugs and alcohol, but it can also make that person the person that stands up for the people that no one stands up for, right? So, yeah, I think like the ninth house Leo Mars gives you this power and this ability to really be in touch with your inner child. Um, why is my phone? My phone keeps filming it. So, that's definitely like something. And then you have, Jupiter and Leo too in the ninth. So that is speaking to like the more that you learn, the more that you upgrade, you know, that you upgrade your wisdom and you upgrade your belief of what truth is, the better you get. And you have this very infectious energy on other people. So that's beautiful, right? That's beautiful. But once again, all that Virgo opposes all that Pisces, which is the, fourth to 10th. So this is the classic case of handling the shit beneath so that the stuff up top can really, really, really pop off. Um, but yeah, you know, the amount of talent you have is insane. And it would be such a shame if you held yourself back from going that direction, because you really are the real deal. I'm not just saying that. Um, yeah, like it's a fucking powerful chart. So let's see. So even like, Moon trine Jupiter, right? Like that's a very like good-natured, generous person who like I said, might give more than they receive. Wow, it keeps fucking like literally like my phone just keeps filming me. But like, you might give more than you receive. And like Moon trine Jupiter people, like they are optimistic, right? So even if like there's very difficult things happening in their life, they can still see that big picture perspective, especially in the ninth house, right? Um, so yeah, I would say like coming to terms with all that fourth house energy, um, it's just letting go. It's just letting go, and it's just diving into high Pisces energy, which is just pure enlightenment. Like your chart is literally about enlightenment in the sense of like just pure spiritual submission to the divine, right? And um the more you fight it, the more the more like difficult and impossible it becomes. But yeah, so when we talk about Pluto, right? So Pluto is playing a big role here, right? Um, Pluto is opposite Moon. this is a very, 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 very tough transit. Why? And also, yeah. So, I just like turn my phone off because it just kept doing that shit. Um, so some people say, it's the most difficult, right? Like I had a post not too long ago where I was saying like Moon square Pluto is like the most difficult aspect, and like all the comments were like, no, Moon opposite Pluto, right? Um, what I've noticed is that it's just like really extreme, especially with a Pisces moon, right? Like obviously the Pisces moon with Saturn on it is not gonna like necessarily like boo boo, you know? But with Pluto, it's just very like intense and changing, especially with Uranus also there, right? Like this could be like seen in like someone with bipolar, right? I've actually had clients who had similar things who had bipolar disorder, right? Um, and especially with the transit you're going through with Neptune on your moon right now, like I really really hope that we book um you know um like a live extended live session, but a few. But basically, like it's just extremes when it comes to moods, right? And like the emotions can become so fierce that they like scare other people, and it like it's just like there's no like in between. It's just up and down, like you know. Um, but at the same time, um, you know, like it's like when you're sad, you're super 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 sad, right? It's like there's no in between. Um, there's no in between here, right? Um, and and usually there was like a very possessive mother, right, who was interfering and dominating and all that stuff, and just like kind of make like oftentimes making the life kind of a living hell. So there's that need to dive, and a lot of people with this like go into substance abuse or self-harm, like they like it is one of those ones that people usually need therapy when they have this, right? However, the key, like I just said, therapy, but it is when you actually share your deep feelings, and like because like there's a big with Saturn on your moon that makes someone like want to hide, like not feel worthy of sharing that of them, and like wanting to hide and not be hurt, right? Like Lilith and Pisces. But when you share your deep feelings, right, you know with Pluto, that's the key, right? People don't know this, but when you actually share your deep, darkest, just most the feelings and emotions that you thought that no one could ever bear hearing. When you do that, that's when magic happens, right? That's when the magic happens. But this is definitely one that's not to mess around with. Um, it just just the extremes. It can be really really tough. But with that said, I have seen people make it out of this in very normal ways, right? Um, but you have to watch out for energy vampires, right? This is a Pisces moon thing too, where there's like watching. You have to really look out for the red flags if you're not married or whatever, right? Because people will see that empathetic nature and try to manipulate you, right? And steal kind of that positive energy and that real you know, kind of like what's the word? Like star seed, just like empath, beautiful soul that you are, right? So you have to watch out for that. Um, but then you have moon. Oh no, okay, yeah, yeah. So like the more that you can open up, um, even if it's like one friend, right? Just it's like this in the first, Saturn, everything is better with age. So after 30, post 30, it gets better, right? Um, and then things just make like most people with this, they tend to to get a lot better with opening up, right? Feeling worthy. And a big part of it is just finding that one person, whether it's a relationship, a best friend, anyone, right? A mentor, right? So let's see. Okay, Antares. What orbs are we using here? So yeah, I mean it's kind of like far. It's like literally limit Antares rising. Um, I just think it creates the daredevil, courage. Like I said, mental alertness. Um, lots of very successful people have it. Um, but you know, think of it. Ant Aries, right? So it can be a little bit taking too big of risks and too yeah. But it keeps shit real. It keeps shit real, that's for sure. Um so yeah. So what's really testy about this all is that it's oppositions, right? Because oppositions, while squares are more internal conflicts, and yes, oppositions can get resolved within, often they do have external manifestations, right? So conflicts and whatnot. Um, so when you're a kid and you don't really know what the fuck you're doing, a lot of this can come from a parent figure, right? Um, and as an adult in like a very toxic love-hate relationship until you really work on yourself. So what I tell everyone, this is so important. When I see charts like this, do not have an ounce of shame or guilt, because what you've done is incredible, right? Um, what you've done is incredible, and most people, everyone would struggle, right? And I get very sad when I see people who have very difficult charts, and they grow up and they have shame and sadness when it's like, yo, you overcame this shit, like you did it. Like, yeah, things might not be perfect, but you fucking did it. So please just remember that. um like take that in, like, cause really give yourself that, because like the Virgo can be very perfectionist. Now I'm curious about your career, but like I want to just keep going through this first. Yeah, so you have like a major healing abilities. Like I said, Moon trine Neptune, just super tapped in intuitively. You can feel other people's feelings. Um, for the good and for the worse, but super creative artistic talents. I hope that you have found some outlets for those. But yeah, I mean, overall, like, yeah, I mean, like the fourth house moon, it does on some level demand, like, hmm, like fourth house moons. I have a fourth house moon, right? But it's not like yours, right? Like it's not like it's in Sag. But like one thing about it is that fourth house moons need they need to feel very grounded in their home, right? Um, they need to feel very grounded in their home, and they need a partner that grounds them really well too, right? Um, so yeah, I would say just they really really crave that safety. Um, and they just want to they just want a family and loved ones around them that nurture them a lot. That's just like without all the other, that's just like fourth house moon by itself, right? And even yeah, so um and they want to have good relationships with their family, but sometimes like with Pisces that yeah they can like allow people to shit on them just because they don't want to rock the ship. So yeah. So yeah, I think I think I'm trying to think of people who have yeah, fourth house moons. Like I feel I've seen some people who just like, I mean mine's fifth house in whole sign, but I've seen people fourth house moons who just have a lot of trouble leaving like their family like later into their life, or like it's just very hard for them. Um for some like subconscious reason, right? But then you have that Uranus, so it kind of pushes away. I mean, I'd be curious. I'm curious. Like I hope you take a bunch of notes because this is so much we covered. This is so interesting. And remind me because I'll forget. I forget everything. Like remind me, I was like, this is one of the most interesting charts I've done. Um, but yeah, just like staying out of the path. That's the like it's like okay, yeah, you're gonna naturally go there, but you know, can you catch yourself, right? Can you catch yourself and try to kind of move more into that 11th house future, right? Because it's like the fourth house is the foundation of your chart. It's the building block. So you have had it as hard as you can possibly have it, right? Like I cannot stress this enough. Like fourth house is the building block of the chart. And when you have the most like difficult like building block, it just means that this shit is like triple million cement. Like this is hard. Like the foundations are so strong, right? Um, it's not built on sand. It's built on whatever the most strong type of concrete or diamond or whatever is, right? And you've proved that. You've earned that, right? And then by doing that, you're able to 10th house Dharma. And that's where it gets really interesting because it's Virgo, service, but doing that in a way that is you know really really life changing and really really beautiful, whether it's art, whether it's something you know like actual like humanitarianism, um something spiritual, um service in some way. It's all over your chart, and you have the ability to really bring people together as well, right? Because on the shell, even though there's all this stuff's bubbling outside, you're Sag Libra, right? So you still have that ability to really bring people together and bring people to ease. Um, so and then Neptune in the 12th house by itself, right? It's like you are tapped the fuck in to the collective unconscious, right? Um, but like so much so, and this goes with your Pisces moon, that you're over like it just makes you overwhelmed by the currents of the world. A lot of people just choose escapism when they have that, right? Like they're just like, this shit's so fucking intense. I don't want to fucking deal with it. So I would not be surprised if you um at some point in your life, whether it was substances or just being like really, really isolated, whatever, right? But you do have that five life path, so that is interesting. Because like another thing about Pisces moon is that they just go with the flow, and they're just like chameleons, and they just want to like. It's like I think of like the hippies back in the day. Um, but yeah, super compassionate. Like you are made for a healer. You can feel anybody's pain, and you are just a gem. I'm like, go watch my readings. I mean, I know I don't post all of them. Like, do I say this? Do I say this in my readings? I think I'm gonna post this one. Unless you really like you're watching this and you're like, please don't. I mean, I used like your initials. Um, I might not post it, but I feel like this is such an important fucking reading. Like, this is crazy. Oh, it's making me emotional. But yeah, like you have a voice, you know, and your voice is meant to be spread. Um, you know, and bring peace to people. And I think your time is coming. And I think right now you're getting through, you know, the most difficult you know, you're getting through this this very difficult transit, right? And at the same time, you know, you're also getting through Uranus square Mars. And hopefully we do that other reading. We can really get into all these. But you know, those are two examples of you know, and even like the fact that Neptune, you know, passed your ascendant a while ago, like, you know, it does just I don't want to like say this because I really have to look at your whole astrology, but you know, you also have Neptune squaring or opposing your Venus, right? So it's like, but like it's moving away from it. So it's like right on it now. So it's like you've been through the worst and it's still tough right now, but it's gonna get better, you know? It's gonna get better. The more just watch Neptune's movement. Go to current planets on Google, watch Neptune's movement. You know, the further it gets away from the 23, 24 mark, the better, right? And then it's also squaring your midheaven. So like, you know, things with career will, you know, eventually start to make more choice or excuse me, make more sense. And yeah, and it's just not a good time to make big decisions right now, especially with like right now with the retrograde about to start. Or did it start? It just starts tomorrow or today. Yeah. So wow, what an appropriate fucking reading for the moon in Scorpio. Like my least favorite time of the month, but like one of the most meaningful readings. Like holy shit. I'm not even done. Um, I'm not even done. So love, love. Um, well, first of all, Venus. Okay, let's just finish off your last two hard aspects. Venus opposite Saturn. I mean, it goes with the theme, right? Um, Venus opposite Saturn is really tough because there's just this like difficulty with you know, it goes back to the self-love, right? And showing other people affection and you know, once again it comes from the childhood. So it's just like so much healing that's needed there, right? People with that feel unworthy of their parents' love and it gets easier after the Saturn return, right? Um, you know, people with that they had, you know, cold parents that didn't give them what they needed as a Pisces moon. And maybe you had siblings who 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 had different placements and it didn't affect them as much, right? Trauma is subjective or micro trauma or you know, adverse you know, childhood experiences, right? So Venus Saturn can become a great thing. Um, it makes you really want security in your relationships, right? Um, and but it does. There are just a lot of hurdles, you know, and like not just like emotional security, financial security, right? Um, but it's about developing your own um system of like what you value, right? And like I would say a big, big, big conclusion, like kind of just like an overarching statement of all this is self-compassion, right? You being your own best friend. When you're able to do that, everything opens up. Um, because yeah, Venus and like yeah, yeah, Venus and Saturn, very, very tough. It's just like so many messages of like the same thing about like just not having the parents that gave you what you needed, and you having, and is it, yeah, and you in this life having to be your own yogi. You're having to be in this life the person that goes and finds the shit for yourself, that finds that growth for yourself, that doesn't feel bad for themselves, and be in that, you know, another Black and Little Pisces thing is being the victim and feeling bad. The world's against me. I'm the victim, right? It's stepping up, right? And that is, you know, like a chart like this is like the most high risk, high reward, right? So I love it. And that kite, amazing. So let's talk more about love, just like relationship stuff, and kind of how that, you know, might manifest. So obviously, you know, you have, you know, like there's that need for like having like these very healing relationships, right? Um, right? And you need to like like it, and it can be one relationship where that person gives you unconditional love, that you trust them like fully. Um, and it's not easy because like a lot of Venus opposite Saturn people, they have like social skills that are difficult early on. They don't feel worthy, and sometimes they self-sabotage because they don't feel like they're good enough. Um, and they get that, all that criticism comes back in their head when they're in their relationships, and that, you know, that early conditioning. But you know, you know, through that ninth house, right? Through that gaining wisdom, you figure out who you really are, and you figure out the truth. You know, you figure out what real truth is, and learning that you're not a bad person, that you're worthy of love, right? And yeah, like just being able to like be vulnerable is like the biggest thing for so much of this, right? Getting out of self-pity, as I said, forgiving yourself, you know, because it's not your fault, right? It's not you. It's not you. Um, so it's like, you know, and that goes all back to this North Node in Taurus, learning to be grounded in your own energy. You've had enough traumatic past lives. It's time to just be chill and just be present, heaven on earth, right? Um, so of course, like, you know, the depression and all the, like the difficult stuff, it can come back, especially during transits like this. But like, you're so fucking tough that I just like I doubt, I don't know, I just feel like you, like I don't know, I just feel like you're a warrior. And then on top of that, you have Venus. It doesn't stop, does it, huh? How many degrees? So it's with Uranus and with Pluto, right? So well, first of all, it's on the midheaven, so it makes it a strong Venus. And also I want to say Jupiter, your chart ruler at 0 degrees, it's just like, you know, about you just going out in the world and trial and error, and just like just learning and just traveling and just like just really, really going out and finding yourself, right? But that's the Fool's card, right? But like it's in a great position. But you know, Venus and Pluto together, that's like some soulmate energy, right? um, like that's like some soulmate energy, right? Where yes, I have Venus square Pluto, which is, you know, more difficult. Um, but it creates a very intense love nature. And what can happen when you have all of this other stuff I've talked about, it can create someone who can come on too strong, right? And they can put their all, and on the low side, they can try to like control and all that. The Pisces moon, I kind of doubt it, but like um, it really is very, very linked to karmic attractions and fated loves, right? That are going to take you, right? So you'll experience, especially early on, your darkness through your relationships, but mostly it's reflecting the relationship with yourself. And the more with Venus Pluto that you learn self-love, the better your relationships become. So a lot of people with Venus Pluto, they can become jealous, possessive, manipulative, because there's this fear of abandonment, self sabotage, all that stuff, right? And they can date people who are very, very dark, right? Pluto represents like the criminals and the darkness, right? But when they transform through that, you know, whether that one relationship or it's that relationship with themselves or spirituality, then it has an exact parallel effect on the partners that they take in, right? But like you love very, very deeply, right? Very, very deeply. And I like I don't know, I think it's a beautiful, beautiful one. And even having Vesta with Venus, it's like, you're someone who you know, who is gonna fight for your relationships, and who is gonna it's a good one, right? Who wants comfort and who will put who and even like on like a level of like working on yourself, like you will work on yourself, right? And I think that and that Mars is so helpful for that, right? But like overall, you're always, it's like channel your past life energy, right? Channel your past life energy. And back to the boundaries thing, like Sag, close to Antares rising, like that's kind of a bad energy. So that's gonna definitely help with a lot of this, right? Um, so Uranus, okay, so Venus in Venus in Virgo, right? The only thing about that is that they can be hard if they're really hard on themselves, right? They no one can be good enough. That's like the kind of like the shadow of Venus in Virgo, right? It's where it's like unrealistic, like they want their partner to be like perfect, right? But they really, really, really want someone who is consistent, who's precise, who they can count on. They know that person on a soul level, you know? They don't want bullshit like they want the real thing. They're not going to waste their time on this stuff. But the thing is like, yeah, um, you know, understand that no one is perfect. And then this goes to my next point. Uranus conjunct Venus. So right now, with Neptune opposing it, it could be very, very confusing time if you're in a relationship. So we definitely need to talk about this. But just from your nail chart, Uranus on Venus, it creates, I mean, there's so much, right? On one level, it creates someone who values their own individuality, right? And they don't want to be, so it's like Venus conjunct Pluto wants on one end, they want that relationship that's like two souls becoming one, right? That ultimate romantic like coming together. But then Uranus conjunct Venus, um, you know, that makes someone usually want a lot of excitement and a lot of freedom in their relationships. Like I have Venus in Aquarius, right? It's kind of similar, a little different, right? Um, so but like what can happen, there can still be instability in your love life, right? Um, and even like Venus rules finances too. So it can make you kind of like got to be careful with spending and stuff, right? Like not like being like so like spend, um but yeah, it just makes change, like you're very very good with change most likely, right? And overall, you're someone who, like, I would say it can make, like, it's like you want commitment, but then you also want someone who values their own individuality, right? Who values themselves, who's not just gonna like only be you, right? Sometimes like distance dating for that type of placement can be good, right? But like Pluto isn't really down for that. But when we talk about Venus as like your artistic talent and being on the midheaven, this is like a creative genius type energy, right? Um, and especially with your South Node, Neptune, like you can really, really tap in and have this very unique style of expressing yourself. So having a creative outlet is so massive. Um, so yeah, I think that's massive for you. But just knowing that, your type of relationship might not be what is the norm. And I'm like that too. And and it's in your 10th house, so it's like, Pluto's there too. So it's like, or ninth in Placidus. So it's like, regardless of how you put it, like, and this is, I see this a lot actually. I like Placidus. I kind of like, I kind of like play with both of them, right? Because like Uranus ninth house makes so much sense if your family was very traditional. Because Uranus ninth house person is like not gonna, especially in Pluto there too, is not gonna just like give in to the traditional, like, believe in this, believe in that. Like they're like, no, like I want to believe what I want to believe, right? So, hold on, let me get rid of that tune back on. Not the gross. Are you from America? Yeah, not the gross American kind. The the sexy Swedish kind. I know, whatever. Um, So, and then Pluto, it just can give like that obsession, around, and like also ninth house Pluto, like, um, classes could be someone who doesn't feel rooted, in their country of home, but then like, yeah, the fourth house moon can, yeah, can make someone quite patriotic, but like, yeah. So all in all, right? And then like Mars, the Mars in Leo with the Senate in Sag, that is the part of you that is about adventure, about fun, and who, like, yes, you need that partner that you can count on. And then Libra, obviously, not being taken advantage of and not being, and wanting that fairness and all that, but also someone who you can express your inner child with, because that's how you heal. You heal through your inner child. Um, I wanna keep a fun thing real. Yeah, because like like even with the South Node in, how long am I at? 2 hours. Okay. Like in Scorpio, it's like people with that, like they have childhoods where they are very 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 like connected to the darkness. Like they understand the dark side of the world, but that is like every healer. Um, so a lot of times they go into like the daydream, like with the Neptune, right? Like the fantasy world, and they don't go towards like, like they can like lose sight of their body and their health, um, whether it's like overindulging in different things that are bad for you, right? So, um, yeah, like once again, it's all about finding that creative, spiritual, artistic talent, and or not talent, outlet. And then like with the North Node in the sixth, like I always say, um, I cheated a tiny bit because I read that you said something about pets. Your sixth house rules pets, right? So you're like and Taurus is stability, right? So it's like, I don't know if you have dogs, cats. I think you said cats, but like they are your healers, right? Um, they are your healers, and um, they give you that balance. They help you give you that balance. But also, it's like your karmic journey is about consistency. It's about going on walks. It's about eating a good diet. It's about like these things that like for like you know for some people are just like kind of whatever. For you, there's like a spiritual level. I also have a sixth house north node in Placid, right? So it's like finding that balance in your day-to-day life in some type of consistency, even if it's hard, right? And not being hard on yourself, right? Like if you fail, fuck it. And your part of fortune's right there too, in the sixth, in Taurus, right? So it's like that's like your flow state is when you are giving service and giving your gifts to the universal, to the collective, and through that you get this stability, and you love building these very firm and solid foundations in your life that give you that groundedness. God damn. I swear this is one of my best readings. I'm I hope what if I'm just like so off on everything? That'd be so fucked. Um I mean, I'm giving this my absolute every fucking thing I possibly can. Um so ooh. Okay, so here's some nice love stuff as we kind of wrap up a little bit. Um, let me just see. Yeah, so Juno is with Ju. Okay, so Juno is like I think of it as your ideal mate. You have Vertex on Juno. So Vertex is like that faded point in your chart, right? It's like it just like it's like this thing and it stops when you're born. And it's like that represents your doorway to higher awareness, and it's through Juno, which is marriage, like the highest, and it's in Cancer in the eighth house. So it has to do with like a very, very, very like close relationship that's faded. And then Jupiter is there too. So Jupiter is providing you fortune and luck with that partner, whether you've met them, whether there's been more than one, you know, that eighth house energy, that is speaking to how you transform. And you transform in a positive way also through relationships. Even if there's a level of intensity, you're growing through them, right? And you're opening up and you're becoming vulnerable. And Juno and Cancer, it's like that close emotional bond with your partner, right? That home life, family, if you have family, right? So, okay, so let's add just like a few little cherries on top. Palace in the fifth, you are someone, I have that too, Palace in Aries, I mean, like you're just someone who thinks fast, like, who's able to kind of like really, really kind of come up with plans, strategies in, it's like the chess player that just moves very quickly but very stern. We have to watch out for being a little bit too, you have to make sure you think before you act kind of thing, right? But then you have Mercury and Libra, which makes you balance things, which can also lead to indecisiveness, right? So, that once again goes to not relying on this person. That's why you need fair relationships, right? To make all decisions for you. You need to have that strong value system that you're like, okay, I'm making this decision because of this value that I believe in. right? Like for example, like I believe that the metaphysical value of what I do is more important than the physical value of what I do. So I'm making my decision based off of that. I believe, you know, in integrity and divine integrity, and I'm making my decision based off of that. So yeah. And then like fifth house, yeah, you can be like really, really artistically talented. I mean, I've said it a million fucking times, right? Um yeah. So yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Still connected to the collective unconscious. A career that's going to be a little bit, that's not meant to be the road, that's meant to be the road less traveled. And yeah, and also like you being able to like be a fucking like game changer in your dharma, right? Pluto 10, right? Um, that's the leader, right? That's the person who through their own death, rebirth, transformation, and growth, it has that effect on their career. And it's never, ever, I don't know what you're doing in your life. I have no idea purposely, but 11th house, when I see it, 66, you may not have even started your full life purpose yet. Who knows? Maybe you have. I mean, like you definitely have, like in terms of like everything you're talking about, but like in terms of like the external world, maybe it's astrology. Who the fuck knows? If you're ever interested in learning, holla at your boy. I do one-on-one classes. I have like about 1 minute left. Let me see one thing. My lips are so chapped. So let's see. Okay, so we already saw that. Um, we already saw that. What's this? Is that Mark? It is 23. Okay. Um, so what's this? Oh, I need to look this up. I don't think it's anything. Um, I don't think it's anything. I don't think part of fortune with algal. This part of fortune conjunct algal poverty. Rihanna. I mentioned on a few websites that. Uh, yeah, I'm not trusting that. Let's see. Let's see. Perfect. Okay. So, oh shit. Okay, of course, obviously. Um, so yeah, when you have Antares rising or like on an angle, right? Like on your ascendant, then you have Aldebaran on your descendant. So two royal stars. Congrats. Those can give fame, right? If they're like smack on. I mean, once again, it's not smack on. It's a little bit over a degree away, but it's still close, right? So we'll get to that in a sec. I'm just trying to see everything. If you could see what I was looking at right now, and I'm gonna just show you, and you're gonna be like, how in the world can you tell what is conjunct what? Yeah, of course. Lilith, which is like one of the witch asteroids on the midheaven. Now, when people have follow-ups, they always ask me, what do you mean by that? I don't know. You can search on Google Lilith or like which asteroid Lilith, Hecate, Circe, which is Circe, and it gives more info. I'm not big on asteroids, but what I do and see is in real witches, which I've already like said that without even seeing this. I see these like on the midheaven or in like important points. So how about that? This is like literally a witch's chart. Cupido, I don't know much about it. I feel like it's very flirtatious, so it could give you like a flirtatious like way of speaking, but I'm not sure about that. You see, I don't act like I know everything about these fucking asteroids. Nothing against them. Okay. Okay, let's get you out of this. Yeah, we're about to end in a oh, wait. Did I just see something? Don't end recording again. Stop share. Okay, wait. Did I just have this talk? Yo, wait, no, never mind. Sorry. Um, no, I thought I saw something. Well, okay, so some people say like, when you have stars or asteroids on the nodes that means something. I never thought it did, but like whatever. Zubin El Shalami on the south node, that is all about like collecting herbs. Um, it is I like God, there's so much about Zubin El Shalami. I feel like I've heard like a million different fucking things about it. Um, it is yeah, good for school, right? Like if like writing, but isn't it like really about herbs and stuff? See, it's really hard to find good information on these yeah, all the nodes are kind of yeah. I don't know. Okay, whatever. Um, all right. Let's talk about Aldebaran on the descendant. So obviously, like the descendant, the angles are really, really important for the fixed stars, and this is a real star. Some would say it's the best one. They always give the same definitions: a splendid and illustrious life, glorious, mighty, and commanding nature, fame, busy with many activities, bountiful resources, well known and feared in cities and regions, prosperity around middle age or through marriage or woman. So like literally like every other definition says that. So it's like, okay. Um, yeah, it's hard. All I can say is that Aldebaran is just like a very, very fortunate um, you know, fixed star. Um, it's the eye of the bull, and um, it represents the joy of matter, the pleasures of the material world, the seduction and comfort of the wealth of nature, and where its connection to the sign Taurus lies. The eye, although it's not the heart, the usual summary of the constellation is the one that synthesizes the meaning of the constellation. It's like the Super Bowl. So it means wealth, fame, election, being chosen, gifted. It's one of the royal stars in the guardian of the East. Comfort in beginning of cycles. The reasoning is the joy of being born into the world. Okay. Yeah, so it's usually when it's like within a degree of the planet. So let's not trip out about that one too much, but pretty cool you have two of them. All right. Holy shit. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. And even like, okay, Uranus trine North Node, like I didn't even see that. Like that just shows that your destiny in this lifetime is linked with like being in your individual self and like like taking the road less traveled and like discovering new and exciting ideas and um you know making sure that you don't like chase that excitement and hedonism at all costs, but direct the energy in like a wise way, even if it's but it's like it's meant to shake things up and be very humanitarian and contribute to humanity, which is beautiful. And even Pluto trines North Node, so that's just showing that you're here to really, really make a difference. And Chiron trying the nodes. So once again, you're literally meant to be a healer. You're meant to ease other people's suffering. Um, After having gone through all the shit you've gone through, and yeah, I mean, what a beautiful way to end it, right? Um, so I hope you made it all the way through. I mean, I did everything I possibly could. Oh wait, did I say already? Yeah, yeah, I said your moon's trying the nodes, right? Yeah. So like some people yeah, I think I said that. It's like some people have to like go out and find their destiny. But like for you, it's like it comes to you, like you manifest it by just like allowing what comes to you, right? And just handling it the right way. My Venus midheaven, Uranus, Venus midheaven friend, what a reading, and even in Placidus, you'd be a 10th house sun. So you're here to learn, you're here to teach us. So whatever I can do to help you, um, I mean, I don't know where you're at. I purposely don't know that, as I said, but yeah, like I don't know. This is so fucking powerful and it's kind of blowing my mind. So yeah, hope you enjoyed. I have to stick these two together because I fucked up the recording and made it in two. But yeah, let me know. So yeah, 270 is fine for the current and follow up. I mean, you already have the follow up, but for the current, if you want to add that, I highly, highly suggest it. Not for anything money wise, as you know me, but because you have some crazy shit going on, and I think us talking for 3 hours um, could be more beneficial than us talking for one. But one is perfect too. And most people have to watch these many times, or they prefer if they're really about it. I always say, like, I could give the best reading ever, but if the person isn't ready to hear it, you know, um, you know, nothing I can do. But my favorite clients are people who are really, really taking it seriously. I feel like that's you, and it's crazy because like when I like actually like look at your messages, it's like, well, let me look at it. It's so positive and so energetic. And then I see your chart, I'm just like, yo, imagine if like I looked at it and it was like the time was all wrong. Because you said I know that's around time, but but I'm a twin. I've been told it's that time since I was pretty young. Sister 10 minutes later. Yeah. So I mean, you know. it's not gonna like change that much, you know. Um, like 10 minutes, yeah. Then it will move a little bit, but not much. So yeah, what was I just saying? My brain is fried right now. Dude, Esme, come here, Esme. Let's get. I mean, this is like my best reading in it. I mean, oh no, it's not Esme. Oh my God, this cat, looks exactly like Esme. It's so funny. Who is Esme? Let's see if you can do astrology. Look at that. Look at the point that we're supposed to look at. Look at the camera. Esme, Esme, Esme. Oh, she's right there. Come on, Esme. Come on. I can get an angle on this. Okay, so literally, I don't know. I've said it before, but maybe my best reading. I mean, I gave everything in this reading, and for a finale, definitely one of my best. Let's see if Esme has something to say. Esme, please show me. Please, Esme, show me the planet I'm supposed to look at. Esme, no. Yeah, one more chance. One more chance. Okay. Okay, okay, yeah. You see? 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 She stared that, right at that Pisces stellium, right at the moon, the Chiron. Fitting ending. Um, anyways, so what the fuck was I saying? Okay, so current astrology, and I can't remember. Um brain fried. But yeah, thank you for this. This was insane. I'm still can't get over this chart. Like just how it all just leads to that forest north node and the sixth, and it's just like, ugh. Like I'm just like I want to know about. Oh yeah, I remember what I was saying. Like I want to know about like your life. I want to know about how this all manifested. I'm very curious, and yeah. So like most people, like yeah, they watch it many times. They take notes. My favorite people, like I said, you can have the best reading, but if someone isn't ready to hear it, or they're just yeah whatever, um, yeah, it's not gonna do it. But maybe there's some synchronicity here, and I hope so. So yeah, just take your time and get back to me when you are uh ready to do the follow-up, and if you want to add the current astrology or anything else, astrocartography, compatibility, I do everything. All right, thank you. 2 hours 30 minutes. All right, ciao.